So welcome back. So again, to continue with just how weird it's been in Perth with, Omicron sneaking in and social distancing, and, what is this and all this. I was actually at a pharmacy right in Fremantle just last week. And so there were in the pharmacy where, we all know potentially, just because people are sick there, there are more germs around. There's potentially more COVID around. So I try to avoid the pharmacy soon. I wouldn't go at all to them. But, I happen to be there. And so I'm about to pay, and I'm standing on one of the social distancing circles, and the guy in front of me is in the next circle, whatever. And I'm not making this up. Someone who, he looked like he was like 85 years old. He is behind me, and he's just got all angry, probably thinking that I should have been closer to the guy in front of me. Like, he just, again, the concept of being in a pandemic and respecting, this distance and wide. So he literally, started trying to push me out of the way. Like, he physically was trying to, I guess, assault me. And so I just got out of line. But to me, it was mind-boggling because, what harm did it? It wasn't like he was saving any time. What harm was it to him that I had some space in front of me? It was absolutely crazy. And I actually got out of the way because this guy was so old and weak that I thought that he might hurt himself trying to push me. It's absolutely crazy. But I did get this is 2 months ago now, but I had to get a COVID test, which is not a big deal. We're doing this all the time because I was considered a close contact. And I can't stand actually the COVID test, although I've had to do it a number of times, just traveling and this sort of thing. And just putting, this cotton swab, especially up your nose, I just can't stand it. It bothers me, it hurts me, I don't like the thing. So this guy, I have to commend the guy freo that did this, because he is extremely patient, because I am really difficult. I'm just afraid of this, I don't like this foreign object in my nose. And so as you know, I have this beard, and so he did it, and then he tells me that there's a booger in my beard. And so it was awkward because I was thinking, okay, he wants that booger, right? Because that's what he's trying to get in his little Q-tip. And I can't see it. It's where is it? When you have, it's when you have a beard or mustache or whatever, food can be in it. You sometimes don't know because you can't see it yourself, right? And so he gives me a tissue, and I'm trying to get the booger out of my beard, and do I give it to him so he could put it? And it was just, it was a little crazy. But moving on to other things, I've also found that there is a certain tension and unnecessary tension just revolved around the whole pandemic, even in Western Australia, where it's still, pretty relaxed. I was actually getting an MRI done just last week, and because just hurt my heel, no big deal. And so I get to this place. I actually went down to Rockingham. I had a 7:30 a.m. appointment because they're just full of appointments at more convenient times. So I'm there early in the morning. I had to get up really early to make it down there. And finally, I'm in the waiting area. I talked to someone, and then I'm with the technician, the person that actually, manages the whole MRI machine and all this. And I just, because the pandemic has been so difficult, and humor, stand-up comedy aside, humor has really gotten me through the pandemic. I just react strongly when people take themselves too seriously. So here, this woman is like a robot, she's all serious and all this. And here I have my scooter, because I kind of do the Eshay thing. I scoot around and sometimes dress sort of funny. You can see I got these chains, although these are very serious and not funny, but just kidding. But so I was like, this is ridiculous. I cannot just act like a robot and pretend that this technician is acting anything but normal. So I thought it would be more entertaining if I asked her if I could take my scooter with me into the MRI machine. So if I could have it in the machine. And I guess she didn't think that was so funny, but I felt like I had to ask that to her. But going back to actually Z generation, sorry Z's, I love you, but I have to make fun of you sometimes. I went into a retail store recently, and there were like 4 or 5 Z people. Like everyone there was like they were either teenagers or they're like 20 years old. Like it was crazy. Just because you would think in a retail environment there'd be like a more senior person or whatever around, like the owner of the place. Well, anyway, they're all these young people, fine. And so, I was talking to them, and I said, what do you do? Like, if someone asks for a manager, because sometimes it could be just that let's say, imagine an older person comes in and feels like the young Z person is not answering the question. Sometimes they just want to ask someone who's maybe been there longer or has more experience, or maybe even the manager or owner of the place. And they said, and they're all sort of were like acting like it was a silly question. They were just like, no, we don't have a manager. We know, we've been working a while, we really know, everything. We don't need that manager. And as they're saying this, they're kind of laughing, and I was like thinking in my head, like, this is not good. Like, they are kidding themselves. Like, I imagine, like, what would these people do if, something came up where you really could benefit from someone that's more, I've worked in retail, I've managed, I've had supervisor roles, I've managed in retail, and sometimes it's actually a good thing. When I've been that age, and I've been 20, it's a good thing to have someone more senior, because you can pass off like a bad customer. Like someone's really difficult, if you're like just starting off with a job, it's just like, okay, why don't you talk to my manager, and you don't have to deal with this guy. So I was imagining, like, what would these people do if, let's say, you had some, anti-vaxxer who just started coughing, on everyone in the store. It's like, I kind of felt bad for them, but at the same time, the way that they kind of laughed at me, meaning that they felt like they knew everything and didn't need, anyone older, or more experienced there. I thought that was pretty interesting. But we will take another break. We'll probably do one more part for tonight. Yeah, we'll see you in a few minutes. Cool.